Welcome back from that feature on the benefits of cashew. And with me in the studio is a friend to the house, Engineer Abayomi Onasanya, the Global Director, African House. And we'll be looking at, the reinventing the cashew export value change. Good morning. And it's good to always have you here with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And we're looking at, the reinventing of the cashew business in Nigeria. So what are the potentials of your cashew in Nigeria?
Well, thank you for having me. Cashew is a product that we produce in Nigeria. It's one of our agricultural produce, and we've over the last few decades we've been able to cement our place in the global market as one of the leading producers of cashew. And as a result, we're earning export income from cashew, but we can do much more. You see, because the current cashew industry is plagued by selling it as a raw nut, in fact, you see, but we can do much more by reinventing the whole value chain in terms of processing and other things we'll talk about today as we proceed.
Okay, so talking about now the export, export potentials in the Nigerian cashew business. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, Nigeria, our export value, export income from cashew stands at $138 million US. And
monthly, weekly,
yearly,
or yearly,
actually. And it's projected that we can do up to 2 billion, in fact. And why we're doing such small volume is that we've not invested in the processing of cashew like most countries of the world do. And in fact, some countries in Asia, I won't mention which now, come into Nigeria, pack a cashew as the raw nut, and then they process it and they earn much more, in terms of what they earn. And you hear certain countries doing more cashew than Nigeria, and they don't actually produce cashew, and you begin to wonder why we not tap into this industry. So that's why we're here today to enlighten Nigerians on what we can do as individuals and as a government to try to change this narrative.
Okay, you made mention of tapping. So how can the average Nigerian tap into this cashew business?
Well, thank God for Abuja. I'll use that word. And thank God for Good Morning Abuja, because we're here on Good Morning Abuja on NTF5. In Gwagwalada market, during the cashew season, you will see sacks and sacks of cashew nuts on the ground waiting for potential buyers. And oftentimes you discover that these so-called farmers complain of non-patronage, you see. And as an individual, as an average Nigerian, what you can do is buy those nuts from them and then invest a little bit of cash into the processing of the cashew, into the roasted cashew, because the value you get from the raw nut and the finished product, they're totally different. You earn at least ×4 of the value when you process, you see. And because cashew is considered a healthy nut, and it has a lot of health benefits, as you mentioned in your highlight earlier. You discover that markets in America, Europe, and Middle East, people eat these nuts because of its health benefits. It's very, very healthy, in fact, you see. So we as an individual, as a company, you can decide to process this nut into packaged cashew, salted cashew, and then you make much more, and then you create jobs in the process.
Okay, so processing it, the average Nigerian, it's not easy for that person to know how to go about it. Is there a way the government can come in to help them know and be aware of it? Apart from we making awareness, like your own company, how do you now make awareness, or is there a way that you can help the average Nigerian know how to process it?
Yes,
and package it well. Packaging is everything.
Exactly. Yes, I mean, like you said, yes, government has a key role to play here, because advocacy is not enough. But like you said, there has to be some sort of support system, you see. And one of the things we are doing is we do advocacy in partnership with the FCT Agricultural ARDS department by educating the cashew farmers on the potentials, and then individuals also. And by the way, processing is not as hard as it sounds. In fact, in some Asian countries like Sri Lanka, what they do is they process by hand. There's the manual way of processing, and there's the machine way. In fact, the hand processed ones carry more value than the ones you use machine to process. So we don't have an excuse to say, you know what, I don't have money so that I can process cashew. So, but of course, there should be support systems from the government in terms of providing the right training and, of course, providing finance for the equipment. But thankfully, the equipments are not too expensive that an average Nigerian can actually afford. So I'm telling Nigerians, please, let's go into this industry. Let's make money. There's a lot to be made from this.
So how do we now restructure the Nigerian, cashew industry?
Well, to restructure the industry, we have to let the potential business people who want to go into this industry to go the entire value chain. Okay. Because oftentimes we get tired, we just harvest and we want to sell. Yeah. What do I mean by this? When you harvest the nut, you dry it. We don't stop at that. What you do further is you process the nut by boiling it so that you can remove the outer shell. Okay. And after you remove the outer shell, then you roast the cashew. After you roast the nut, then you peel it. When you peel it, then you have the ready-made cashew, and of course you have to grade it, and then you have to package it. And the shell that we've discarded, recently we discovered that it's actually money too, because there's a chemical, there's an acid in the shell of cashew that is used as coatings for sheep, for wood. This is very expensive chemical. In fact, that's just another value chain entirely. So Nigerians need to know this, and like you said, the packaging is important. You see, if you want to sell to the American market, your packaging has to be excellent. And thankfully, even here in Abuja, you can do some beautiful packaging here in Abuja. There are companies doing packaging here in Abuja that you can tap into and across the federation as well.
Engineer Abayomi, where can we find cashew?
Interesting. Cashew, you may not believe it, Abuja has a lot of cashew. In fact, Abuja used to be known to be a cashew plantation. In fact, before there's new development you see around. In fact, in some places in Abuja, like Gwagwalada, if you go there buy a virgin land, you see cashew trees there. And before you cut off the trees, you have to compensate the farmers because cashew has been is historically here in Abuja. Talk about Kogi State. Kogi is swimming in cashew. You go to Nasarawa State, cashew is everywhere, and you'll be surprised that the farmers will tell you, we have this cashew, we don't know what to do. And historically, the funny thing, when I was in Asia, people will say, they say in Farsi, they call it Badomindi. That means Indian nut. That's what they call cashew. Oh, really? So I now say, guys, it's not Indian nut. It is Nigerian nut. Because cashew is found in Nigeria. And, people, cashew.
They don't have the trees in India.
They do have, but not as much as we do in Nigeria, in fact, you see. And then they believe historically it's just from India. And, because why they say India is because the Indian businessmen will come to Nigeria, pack the cashews in raw state, process it over there, and then export to the rest of the world.
So by the time you see,
but it's actually Nigerian, you see. So, but cashew is majorly found in all these three major states and other states as well. But Abuja,
not as much as Abuja,
not much as Abuja, Kogi, and Nasarawa. You will find cashew everywhere. And the cashew, if you see the cashew tree, it has this fruit and the nut behind it. Yeah. Several decades ago, people would remove the nut, throw it, and eat the fruits. But then we didn't know that you could actually make money from the nut, and it has a lot of health benefits to it. So we're blessed with cashew in Nigeria.
Wow. When you made mention of the Eastern Asian countries using it, I know they use it as a delicacy, especially when cooking rice and everything, the amandi rice. Yeah. I'm a fan of cooking.
Me too.
So that's why I know about it. Right. Wow, that's very good. So how do we now restructure the Nigerian cashew business?
To restructure it is pretty simple. First, we need to invest in the process. I keep mentioning processing because if we keep exporting the raw nuts, we'll discover that our farmers will always live in misery, asking, we don't have customers, we have cashew we cannot sell. But if we invest in processing, then we have ready-made products that people in the Middle East can buy and the rest of the world can enjoy. And funny enough, we focus too much on certain markets. Thank God you mentioned the Middle East. Yeah. Cashew is a sign of royalty in the Middle East. Like you mentioned, mandi, wasla, and all those Arabic food that I love, you see. And when you visit someone in the Middle East, they sprinkle cashew on your rice as a sign of respect. To show that
I thought it was just part of part of the ingredients.
No, it's respect, and it gives you that fusion. When you're eating this tender lamb and this wasla, this rice and whatnot, and cashew is in the mix, it's just heavenly. The taste you see. So it's something they respect, and there's always demand for it. There's always demand. So whatever you produce in cashew Nigeria, people are ready to offtake and buy from you. So guys, let's go into this business.
Well, before I let you go, because we always have so much to talk about, and then educating everyone to be aware of what we have and how we can make use of it. So your final words.
Well, cashew is gold. Cashew can create jobs. So please let us invest our time and money into the cashew value chain, and Nigeria will be better off for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's
It's
a
always
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Well, we've been discussing, the reinventing of the cashew value chain in the Nigerian industry. And he said cashew is gold and we should, invest in it. We can make money, which brings us to our next segment, money saving tips.